This week we celebrate all things Star Wars as we're joined by Star Wars aficionado and all-around legend Steele Saunders to talk Celebration, his thoughts on The Last Jedi, CGI space rocks, and a whole bunch more. May the 4th be with you,
Welcome back to another action-packed episode of Comic Confidential. I'm Cade.
And I'm Troy.
And before we get into the news, we have to talk about our special goddamn guest.
Our goddamn special guest,
Steele Saunders.
I was going to say it at the same time. We got Steele Saunders on the show. If you don't know who Steele Saunders is, and you're listening
shame on you.
Yeah, shame on you. And you're listening to a podcast. What have you been doing with your life? God damn it! What have you been doing with your life? If you listen to podcasts and you don't know who Steele Saunders is, he is the host of I Love Green Guide Letters,
which is pretty much the funniest goddamn podcast out there.
It's one of the funniest for sure, and also the host of Steele Wars. And the guy is just an absolute, an amazing, well of knowledge for Star Wars and all things just
comedy.
So we were very lucky to get him on the show. We chatted to him for a good hour. So that's coming up a little bit later. So look out for that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. You guys are going to love it. You know what else you're going to love?
What?
The news.
Hit me with it, baby.
I'm going to hit you with the news. Now, first news story. This is pretty exciting. Back to the Future director Robert Zemeckis is rumored to be in negotiations to helm the Flash movie. What do you think about this, my friend?
Could there be, any more of a sign? For a Flash movie, Back to the Future, come on.
The director of Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3.
Press.
The guy has directed some amazing movies. Forrest Gump.
No.
Castaway.
Are you telling truth?
I am 100% telling truth.
This guy has to do it because...
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
No.
That's another one. This is Robert Zemeckis, man. Robert Zemeckis is a legend. If he signs on to be the director of the Flash movie, it is going to be fucking mental.
That's going to be amazing.
It's going to be...
Forrest Gump is my favorite movie of all time.
Yet you didn't know who the director was.
Mate, I never get that far. But there's too many tears in my eyes to even see the credits.
Can't even see the credits at the end because you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe that Forrest Gump died at the end. Is that what happened? I honestly don't remember Forrest Gump.
Jenny dies, mate.
Oh, that's right. And
I'm pretty sure she gave Forrest AIDS.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was Philadelphia.
No, that's Forrest Gump.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I do not remember this movie at all.
Jenny was a dick.
Jenny was a dick, apparently.
And I think her child might also have it. That movie gets, if you read between the lines, it gets dark.
Yeah, okay. I honestly do not remember that movie at all. But it doesn't matter because we're not here to talk about Forrest Gump, goddammit. We're here to talk about Bobby Zemeckis and the fact that he could be helming The Flash.
That's amazing.
I was excited for Rick Famuyiwa when he was announced.
Yeah.
But he's a fairly new director. He's done a couple of really great things, but this is a guy who has a track record. Not all of it's good. This guy, dead set, has directed some shit. I'll be honest with you, but he has he has Oscar winners under his belt, man, and he has Back to the Future. And who the fuck doesn't love at least 1 to 2 of those 3 movies?
He might have the most cult classics in film history under his belt.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, but he'd go pretty close. Go pretty close. Look,
someone let us know.
Someone let us know. I absolutely love the guy. I think if this happens, man, this is a major win for Warner Brothers and a major win for the DCEU, man. And Robert Zemeckis, and the good thing about him is he's been around for the longest time, and he's respected enough that he can probably turn around to Warner Brothers and say, no. We're going to do this my way.
Yeah.
Have you motherfucking seen Forrest Gump? We are going to do this my way or the highway. So I'm very excited.
Man, a movie about someone who runs, a movie about time travel. What more can you bloody want?
It's basically going to be Back to the Future with Forrest Gump. Basically.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. All right. Sony has set a release date for Masters of the Universe, the live
Masters
action,
of the universe.
the live action adaptation. It's December the 18th, 2019.
You got your pink tight polo on today.
I do. I am dressed like Prince Adam. Man, I am like, there's only been one Masters of the Universe, one He-Man movie so far. And look, it's from the 80s. It's got Dolph Lundgren.
It's the 80s, baby.
I like it. I like it. But I want this, man. I want this in me. All of it in me. This Masters of the Universe movie is coming from Sony. It's pretty exciting.
This is like big news, man.
Well, this is a movie that's been spoken about since like 2013 or 14 or something like that. They originally started speaking about it. And here we are in 2017, and we finally have an actual release date. So this is, while nothing in Hollywood is guaranteed, don't get me wrong, this is the closest thing we've had to a guarantee for this movie coming out. So I'm keen. I am keen. And
so does this get you excited for like Leonardo DiCaprio bringing in the Captain Planet movies?
Man, look, I would take a Masters of the Universe movie over a Captain Planet movie any day.
Oh, I think anyone would.
But I would take a Captain Planet movie. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this before. You got to have Don Cheadle as Captain Planet. As long as you do that, everything's going to be fine.
R rating.
Turning everybody into trees.
Some motherfucking trees.
Yeah. The other thing that gets me excited about this movie is the fact that long rumored director McG is no longer directing this movie, and all I can say is thank fuck, because his name is McG.
I've never even is he a DJ?
I think, look, and don't quote me on this. I think he was originally like a what do you call it? Like a music clip director.
Oh, so it's pretty close.
Similar to Michael Bay in that sort of way.
Right, okay.
But yeah, this guy, it's he has put out some trash.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. But what we're headed to, we don't actually have a director for the Masters Universe movie, but it is apparently rumored, or it might even be official actually, that Man of Steel's David Goyer is penning the screenplay. And that's pretty exciting.
That is.
Now, with David Goyer as well, he was also rumored to be penning the screenplay for the Green Lantern Corps movie.
Oh.
So I don't know how he's going to make it all work. But I'm pretty excited. Man, I hope this guy can do it.
I think you can.
Man, Masters of the Universe.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
If you haven't got a nostalgia boner right now, you need to check yourself.
I actually have a nostalgia boner. I've had it from the moment I saw this news. It's been more than 4 hours.
You need to call a doctor.
I need to call a doctor. I've tried ice. I've tried everything. Next bit of news, we're going away from Masters of the Universe. We're going to the Marvel Netflix universe. The Punisher will not feature an appearance from Rosario Dawson's Claire Temple.
You know what's sad about this?
What?
Is that this is now news.
Yeah.
She's ingrained herself so much into the Netflix verse that anytime she's not there, people are talking about it.
Yeah. Do you think it's... Like, do you think she's that much of an integral character to like bringing the Defenders together, or do you honestly just think it's Rosario Dawson? So this is the biggest actor that we have in these shows. Let's talk about it.
I think it's creative contract writing here, because she's not that important. Like Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Like, how is she taking on members of the Hand? Like, seriously. I know they're learning members and she's learning Kung Fu, but like, you don't see me out fucking fighting ninjas.
Yeah. That's true. You don't. I've never seen you out there fighting ninjas.
Exactly.
And you're not doing your part, goddammit, for the ninja epidemic that we have in this world currently. You need to get out there and fight some more ninjas. But yeah, I also don't believe that Rosario Dawson's Claire Temple is as integral as they've made her. I don't think it's necessary to have this one character that is just popping up in these shows. And if she did pop up in The Punisher, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
There would be absolutely no reason for it whatsoever.
Oh, mate, she'll be running around with a minigun or some shit. I would see them going that crazy.
I honestly... Can I tell you this, though? Her popping up in this makes more sense than Luke Cage or
Absolutely.
Iron Fist. 100%. If she hadn't popped up in those two shows, having her pop up in The Punisher makes sense. She's a fucking nurse.
Yeah.
The Punisher is just nothing but collateral damage. If you're going to need a nurse anywhere, you're going to need it with The Punisher.
Absolutely. I've just literally thought of the craziest theory.
What's that?
And I may have subconsciously stole this.
Yeah. Okay. What's that?
What if they are like baiting us or like training us to like Claire Temple because they're maybe thinking of doing a She-Hulk Netflix series and she could be the She-Hulk?
Oh, that is not going to happen. There is like I could see her in that casting. Don't get me wrong. I could well and truly see her as her name has completely escaped me. How embarrassing for me. But I could definitely see her as the Hulk, as the She-Hulk.
Because technically she's not Night Nurse.
Well, yeah.
She's just Claire Temple.
Surely.
Future She-Hulk.
Future She-Hulk.
Coming to your screens in 2018.
Oh, man. I would not say no. If they hadn't have already had Rosario Dawson in these roles that they've had her in as Claire Temple in all these shows, if they had have just announced a She-Hulk series on Netflix with Rosario Dawson,
it makes
I would have
sense,
gone,
man.
fuck yeah, let's do that.
It makes sense. That's how she's always finding herself around these powered people.
No, there's no way. There is no way.
One can dream, right?
One can dream. But I do not think that's going to happen. And with The Punisher, when you've got Karen Page kind of showing up as a supporting person anyway, you don't need Rosario Dawson. It's completely unnecessary. So I'm glad they're going that way.
Yeah, it's good.
Still waiting on that release date, Netflix. Can someone hit us up?
Just make it happen.
With that. This is some very exciting news. I don't know how excited you are. Amy would be screaming right now if she was with us, but she is off doing other things. If we haven't spoken about that already, I don't think we have. Teen Titans is getting a live action series, and it's coming in 2018. What do you think of that?
This makes me like wonder what they're going to be doing with their animated series.
Well, it's still happening.
Yeah?
Yep, still happening.
Young Justice.
Young Justice is still happening. Man, I'm excited.
Oh man, I'm pumped for this.
Like, do we have word though of what channel it's going to go on? Because I think that makes a big difference.
CW, mate.
It is definitely going to be CW.
No.
Oh my god, I thought you were serious. Because that would be, I would not be excited. I would be less excited.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we've got Wally West.
Yeah.
On there, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, if they're going to use Wally West in Teen Titans, you think they might shoehorn it into the CW?
Yep. Okay. Well, look, from what I know, it is being produced or executive produced by Greg Berlanti.
CW
so
all
it's
over.
Probably definitely.
Yeah.
Going to be the CW, which is interesting. It'd be interesting to see if it ties in with Arrow and the Flash and all that sort of stuff.
You know what? I can actually see Teen Titans. Like, it's almost a lighter tone, and I could see that working on the CW, and especially on Arrow. We're starting to get Deathstroke back, who's a classic villain of the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Now, if they do a whole season based around like that whole, I guess, backwards and forwards, I would absolutely love this.
Yeah, look, I guess I just, sometimes the CW can be a little bit too
teenage angst.
Teenage angst, I guess. I don't even know if that's the right word, but
too teen wolfy.
But too teen wolfy, 100% too teen wolfy. But it's
you got to remember it is
man.
It is about teens. It's in the bloody name.
Oh, look, I get it.
And that's why it would probably just slide straight into that CW network.
I think the only confirmed characters so far that we've got are Dick Grayson, Starfire, and Raven.
Oh.
And there's a high potential for a bit of Beast Boy action. Who doesn't want a bit of Beast Boy action, let's be honest?
That would be expensive.
The guy can turn into anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It'll be expensive.
Well, it'd just be kind of like a Vixen from Legends of Tomorrow.
Always gorilla.
Yeah, he'd just always turn into gorilla, and that's it.
Wouldn't it be outrageous if they used like those CGI templates of that gorilla for Beast Boy every time?
It would be completely expected.
Yeah.
Let me be honest with you. But that's very exciting, man.
What's the odds that they'll put Vixen into that show?
I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of this incarnation of Vixen, to be honest.
Really?
With you. I think if they were going to do that,
it had to be a younger version.
Well, it have to be modern day Vixen. So the Vixen that has shown up on Arrow
Yep.
and things like that. Like, if they're going to do it with the modern day Vixen. I wouldn't take the Legends of Tomorrow Vixen and put her with this. You're putting someone from the 1920s or 30s or something like that in with a group of teenagers.
Yeah.
Millennials, basically. It's not going to work.
Imagine that culture shock.
Oh, it would not work.
She'll be there at 12 years old wondering why everyone hasn't got a job and 18 kids yet.
Yeah, exactly. And she'll be, they'll be listening to all their, like, iPhones and whatnot, all that
hippity hop.
Yeah, the hippity hop, their Lil Yachties and all that sort of trap music. And she'd be there just jiving away. Whatever you do in the 1920s, man. I don't even know what dances they did. Swing. We'll call it swing. I think swing was later, but it doesn't actually matter. Because you know what matters? It's motherfucking lightning news time. Are you ready? Pow, pow, motherfuckers. Lightning news. Jeff Goldblum set to return for Jurassic World 2. What do you think about that?
I just cannot get enough of Jeff Goldblum.
Give me Jeff Goldblum in any movie, and I will take it, even though I hated Independence Day Resurgence. And he was in that.
He was in Sydney just recently handing out snags on bread to people.
Yeah, in the food truck Chef Goldblum.
That's amazing.
Which is an amazing name, and that is free publicity, goddamn you, Chef Goldblum. So next time we're in Sydney, free snags.
I want a snag, mate.
Free snags. Jeff.
Hit him up on Twitter.
I will. Hey, we gave you a shout out. Give us some snags. That's amazing, man. This guy, I love this guy. I'm keen to see him in anything.
I can't wait to see the memes from this.
Oh, it's going to be so good. The memes are already started. You know that, don't you?
No.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Maybe. I could be wrong. I could be thinking of older Jeff Goldblum memes.
I want to see another shirtless scene, him on his side, just looking all sexy.
Look, if you haven't already started it, meme makers, get out there and start making Jeff Goldblum Jurassic World 2 memes. Kingsman, the Golden Circle trailer finally dropped. Did you check this out?
Nope, I saw it. I saw it on my feed. I never watched it because I haven't even seen the Kingsman yet, so I don't want to spoil it.
Oh, Cade, you have to watch Kingsman. God damn it, I will pause this podcast right now so you can go and watch Kingsman. Look, if you don't have anything to do on this grand 4-day weekend that we have in Queensland.
3 for me, mate.
Well, 3. I have 4. But in this grand 3-day weekend for you, it's a Queensland thing. I don't think everyone has it. Sorry, everyone else. But if you don't take the time out to watch Kingsman, it's on Netflix. Get it into you, and then go and check out this trailer because this looks like it could be fucking like Kingsman was the sleeper movie of 2015. This could be the sleeper movie of 2017, man.
How can you have 2 sleeper movies? Wouldn't that just put high expectations on the second one?
No, I'm saying this was like the original movie was the sleeper hit of 2015.
Time will tell, mate.
This is coming, man. It looks amazing. It looks absolutely fantastic. This is this trailer, this teaser trailer. This is a spy movie, man. Fuck James Bond. Fuck James Bond. Daniel Craig, don't even come back for Bond 25 or whatever it is. Don't even bother. Kingsman, Eggsy, man, he's got it. And you do see for those of you who have seen it, you do get a little bit of teaser for Colin Firth's character coming back as well. I've already spoiled that for you, my man. So so don't you worry about that. Hey, Supergirl, Gotham ratings.
In the shitter?
In the shitter, big time.
I'm not surprised, mate.
Supergirl was actually the worst for the current season.
Really?
This current episode, yeah. It's struggled to hit 1.6.
Has it been renewed for season 3?
As of yet, I don't know if it has. I did think when they made the announcement that the Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow, I thought they made the announcement that all 4 of the superhero CW shows were renewed.
Yeah, right.
So I'm pretty sure it does have a season 3 coming, but man, this is not good news because it rated, like I said, the lowest of season 2 so far by a good 30 to 40,000 viewers. So it's not like one or two people switched off. We're talking like tens of thousands of people switched off. And Gotham wasn't much better.
Man, it's got a big ask ahead of it, eh?
Gotham has been one of those shows, though, that, because it's not on the CW, it's on Fox, and it has rated better than the CW shows for the most part. But that's different in the sense of, it's kind of, I think it benefits from being on Fox rather than being on the CW.
Well, Fox is a much larger network as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where it kind of benefits from that. But it also saw a massive drop. But The Flash also saw a massive drop. Arrow had its worst episode of season 5. It barely scraped it. It was 1.3 million domestically.
Wow. Well, that's what happens when you take 4 or 5 week breaks. No one knows the show's on.
This close to the end of the season, like you can't take a month off to come back for a month.
And they do it every year.
Yeah.
When will the showrunners learn?
I don't understand, like, maybe some of our US listeners, if you can let us know, like, because this is all domestically, right? So these are numbers coming out of the US. If you can let us know what is happening in the US at this or at the last, like over the last month, as to why these shows would take a month-long break. I don't know,
there could be local politics, it could be whatever.
I don't know what's going on, but this is something that, should not happen. And it has affected every single one of these shows, but none more so than Supergirl, Arrow, and Gotham.
Actually, it's affected one show more.
What's that?
Powerless. It's been officially cancelled.
Yes. Well, is it official?
Yeah, it's official with 3 episodes. It's been pulled from the air.
Yeah, it's been pulled from the schedule, which doesn't mean that it's been cancelled officially yet.
This is a soft cancel.
But this is a soft cancel. That's exactly the best way to put it.
With 3 episodes go in the season, you think you would probably just run that out.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best. You'd play your last episodes and you just go, "Hey, we had a good run."
Yeah,
we'll see. Actually, you didn't have a good run. You had a shitty run.
Yeah, the worst run on TV history.
You had a shitty run. But look, for the people that have worked on it, man, and for the actors involved and everybody behind the scenes, it's shitty, man.
It's terrible news.
It's shit news. And I wish them all the best for the future.
Because we never want to see things fail.
No,
we always want to see things succeed. We want to see things be good.
We always try to be as positive as we can with everything that comes through. Sometimes you just get a big steaming pile of shit that you just can't, no matter how much you try to pour glitter on it and spray some Febreze, can't.
Still shit.
It's still a big stinking pile of turd. And that's what Powerless was, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So best of luck to all you guys, but it's done. Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot both dropped TV spots for Wonder Woman on Twitter today, and we got a tiny little sexy glimpse of Ares. Did you see it?
Oh,
just a tiny bit, man.
Just a tiny bit.
It's just the tip.
Just the tip, baby.
That's all you need. Sometimes you just need the tip. This is the Ares tip. I don't want to see any more of this.
This is it. I almost didn't watch it because I heard you could see like just a tiny bit.
Yeah, I hope this is as far like this is. I say this all the time when we talk about Wonder Woman things, but I don't want to see any more, man. Stop giving us more. There's been some not controversy, but there's been some a lot of people coming out and saying, "Oh, I don't even know when Wonder Woman starts because the publicity for it has been lacking."
Oh, fuck off.
And it's like, son, what goddamn motherfucking rock have you been living under?
The Marvel rock, mate.
Well, I don't
who even cares about that shit
I don't want to
anymore?
get into a Marvel vs. DC thing, man. I do not like that shit whatsoever. But let's be honest here. If you have been paying any attention to 2017, you goddamn know when this goddamn movie is coming out. Goddamn it.
Indeed.
So I am fucking excited. Patty Jenkins looks like she's done an absolutely fantastic job. I am fucking ready. My body's ready. Just pour it in me and fill me up with that Wonder Woman goodness.
For our 66th episode, fresh off the back of celebration in Orlando and anticipation for May the 4th, we decided that there would be no guest more special to have on the show to talk all things Star Wars than the host of incredible podcasts I Love Green Guide Letters and Steele Wars, stand-up comedian, podcasting legend, and Star Wars aficionado, Steele Saunders. Steele, welcome to Comic Confidential, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
It is a pleasure being had, guys. We finally made it happen. We were going to do it a while back, but things just got a little bit too tight. And my body's actually just recovering from all the things that made it tight. It was, I had fun pains. It was crazy. When I got back from celebration, my body ached of fun. And
if you're going to have any pains, I guess fun pains are the pains to have.
Yeah, and my heart yearned to be back. It was, it's like I see all these photos now of all this fun, and it is actually depressing to not be at Star Wars Celebration. So I think it's one of those things that I never want to use business class like on an airplane. Like if someone said, "Oh, we upgraded you," I'm going to do it. But the thing that I cling to is, well, I don't want to know what it's like, because then when I'm at like down the bottom or at the back the next time, because the flight from Australia is like 14 hours, then I'll know how good people have got it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a worry with going to Star Wars Celebration, because you learn how good it can be, how much fun you can have in a day. And now I'm like, I have a fun life otherwise, but it's nowhere near as fun as that. So I'm in this post celebration depression. I'm back in regular carriage. I'm out of business class in my fun. I'm out of business fun class.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I would love to know, did you happen to wear like a Garmin tracker or anything like that? Because how long were you on your feet at Celebration?
What? A Garmin tracker? What's that?
It's a little something that tracks how many steps you take.
Like a Fitbit.
Like a Fitbit or something like that?
Yeah,
I get you. Oh, a tracker that is a garment. I thought you meant like something that would monitor where my T-shirts were going or something like that, which would be as useful. Now, I have no idea. That'd be a good exercise. But I do know I slept no more than 4 hours a night for the first 3 nights.
Damn.
And there was 2 days where I worked out I'd only had a banana each day to eat.
Jesus.
Wow.
Because I'd be in the hotel, and so there was like a little bodega down the bottom of the hotel. So I would just get supplies. Like they have these Starbucks double shot. Like they look like a Red Bull. Like they're that shape of can, but they're like a coffee, and you can't get them in Australia, which is such a bummer. Or it's actually probably pretty good, because my life expectancy is getting helped by that. So I'd grab a couple of those, I'd grab a couple of liters of water and a banana, and I'd be like, well, that's breakfast. And then I'd be back on the bus. We had this like Disney press bus that would take us to the convention each day. And my Disney rep each day was just like, how are you back on this bus? Like, I know what time you got home.
Yeah.
How are you? And I'm like, this is it. You got to make it count. It's Star Wars Celebration. I can sleep next week. And boy, did I. I slept. I had a 4-hour flight and then a 2-hour flight back to LA. 0 time in the air awake. And then the next day I had a 14-hour flight back to Sydney, and I was awake for about 2 of those. And then Sydney to Melbourne, another asleep before I took off, and then got woken up when the plane landed. It was like to have your body yearn for that much sleep is so weird.
See, that's how you know when you're tired, when you can actually sleep deep on a plane. I think any other time it's just like, it's one of the most annoying things to try to do, but yeah, you must have been absolutely shagged.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at sleeping on the plane as long as I've got a window seat, but I've got good positions. But yeah, it was, and I remember being so, like, when sometimes you're asleep and you're asleep and you're happy? Like, you feel like whether or not you actually have a smile, you're sleeping with like a content smile, like your vibe. Like, you don't know whether you've got a smile on, but your soul is smiling that you're asleep. Yeah. So I remember being on the plane and just sort of knowing I was on a plane asleep, but just being so happy it was done. Like I terribly miss it, but because I was doing the comedy festival in Melbourne as well, and
oh man,
so it was one of those things that at the start of the month, and my wife is like based in Los Angeles. That's why I'm always back and forth. And so she came back for a week. I was getting my show ready, and then I had all the podcasts. Then I had this trip to Celebration, and thankfully doing this segment for Studio 10 that. Which is like in Australia, morning TV sort of news and light entertainment and infomercial program, which I really love doing stuff for them. They're really fun. But I had all this in 1 month, and it was one of those things of like, can I can I make it through this month without something going, like one of these things going off the rails? So when I did my last live podcast in the festival on Saturday, and that was it, I was just like, I can't believe that I somehow, like,
survived.
Burnt the candle at I had new ends of my candle that I was burning, and I was skiffing across on thin ice, but it was terribly fun. And I think, like, the celebration thing, it is not a time for sleep. It is a time just to see what happens.
Well, for a lot of people, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I guess. So you just kind of got to suffer through the pain and just suck it up and get it done and just enjoy it and soak everything in about it, everything you can.
Yeah, and I also think if you it's a long way off before people have to go again, but one of my favorite things is just having nothing to do there, and just walking around, and you'll just bump into people, like
just people watching.
Well, you'll just see people like that you'd like to talk to, like you'll see like Chuck Windeg or something like that, just walking around, and like it's like that. I don't know, like. It's fun to have things that you really want to go see, but I think when you go, if something you're sort of like, yeah, I kind of want to see this panel, sometimes it's worth just not going and just doing some like walking of the floor and just seeing who you're going to bump into.
And did you get a fair amount of kind of free time, I guess, because you had a bit of work and all that sort of stuff to do? So between the work with Channel 10 and the podcasting and all that sort of stuff, did you get a lot of free time?
I'm not sure what free time is, and because
well, yeah.
I don't really know when, like you say work for the podcast, it's like, well, where does that end, and where does normal life do it? But the first 2 days were quite hectic with filming for that segment, like all those things that you see in those like sort of infotainment-y, like all the cutaways of walking past Darth Vader and all that stuff. It takes so long to film. Like, because you have to, like, you have to film so much more than you need, and so you give the editor like enough freedom to do whatever he wants. That's the other scary thing, is like it all gets sent back to Australia, and you don't know what's going to get used. You just sort of hope that because I've got this real thing about like representing Star Wars fans, like in a not too goofy way. Like, the segment's fun, but my one rule is I'll never hold a lightsaber.
Oh, really?
In like when I ever do like media stuff for Star Wars, it's for some reason it's just like I'll never hold a lightsaber, because
that's fair.
I don't know. I just wouldn't. I don't know. There's just something about it, and I'm not like calling other people out, but I just had that. It was just my one thing of, it's just such a cliche.
Yep.
These crazy Star Wars fans with their laser swords, and so it's always like when hold this, and I'm like, I wouldn't do that normally, so I can't. I'm not going to do that. Let's
is that a thing that happens? So Channel 10 might say, hey, Steele, mate, we'd really love it if you could wear this Jedi robe while you do these interviews. Does that kind of thing?
Nah, Channel 10, like the Studio 10 show is like amazing. So they Rob, who's the producer, who if people that listen to the Steele Wars podcast, there was a blog pod, like the blog pods is what I call sort of my audio diaries that I do at events. So it's sort of like I'll record stuff all throughout the day. And we did one when Harrison was at the Opera House, and there was a segment that we'd just been to IMAX and Disney had shown us like 8 minutes of the film, and it was the Jakku Millennium Falcon, that scene.
Yeah.
And which was intense. But there's a segment in the podcast where it's me and two girls and a guy, and we're getting a cab back to the Opera House, and we're talking about what we saw without talking about what we saw. Like there was a lot of like, and the thing did the thing to the thing, and it an amazing bit of audio, because it's just like the hype level and the joy level is just off the Richter. But the guy, Rob, he actually runs the Studio 10 show. So he's sort of like got his finger on the pulse of sort of like of me and how I'd like to represent Star Wars and stuff like that. Like I've had a few ones where, you know, sometimes like phone interviews. I remember I had this one with like Triple M in Adelaide for The Force Awakens, and the guy was sort of like, let's make fun of these crazy Star Wars fans. And he wasn't ready for, you know, like he's talking to a Star Wars dork on the phone, but he didn't know that the guy had like 10 years of stand-up experience and was quite ready to take on a heckler. And so I don't like it portrayed as that it's a bunch of weirdos. It's just like good people that are living vicariously through these stories, rather than, you know, much like I just live opposite the MCG pretty much, and you know, there's, I don't know how many, 50,000 people go, maybe more, going there today dressed up as their football team and stuff, and they're going to go enjoy watching 18 guys kicking a dead cow around a paddock. And if that's how you get your fun, that's fine. Like, and I just don't like that sort of that light tinge of a bullying mentality where it's like, well, these people aren't doing anything. They're not hurting anyone. In fact, they're spreading a lot of joy and stuff. So I get very defensive, and I will attack.
No, that's absolutely fair enough, because I mean, you do see the media, you know, they kind of put that kind of real geeky, nerdy spin on a lot of events like this. You know, it's not even just for Star Wars. It goes to Comic-Con events. It goes for Trekkie events, you know, Dragon Cons, things like that.
Yeah, and it's sort of like I'm happy to make fun of how much like of a nerd I am and stuff, but that's for me to do.
Yeah.
Not for like, you know, Timbo to do, who's like doing, you know, 7 till 9 weekdays or whatever. So, I just that. So when doing the segment, just going back to that, they're like, I got a disturbing lack of direction on what to do.
Oh, really?
So they sort of, I think I would like to think that Rob and the guys there sort of knew that I knew what had to get done and what makes a segment and stuff. And, you know, I really wanted to have, so I did like these, for people that might not know, I did the Studio 10 thing, which was about 6 minutes, and you can find it on Twitter and stuff. But then I got to, as part of that, I got to interview like the cast very quickly, like sort of like 2-3 minute interviews. And that's on the podcast, and it will be on YouTube soon in full. So like Ryan Johnson and Kath Kennedy, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Kelly Marie Tran. And I really wanted to ask questions that would work on, you know, a morning TV show, but then Star Wars fans would like get something out of it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Sure.
There's only so much you can achieve in that amount of time, but I think the questions I asked and what I got, like, I just at the moment, that the question about if they were ever going to change the original trilogy again, that one seems to be doing the rounds on all those bizarre websites, you know, the pop culture news websites that sometimes are not the most reliable things to get news from.
We know. Oh, yeah, mate, they're a big topic of conversation on this podcast quite regularly.
Yeah, I always just, like, sometimes people post them to me and stuff, like, you know, just like you know, is Boba Fett Snoke, all that, and it's just like, don't give it the, like just even by posting the link and going, how dumb is this? It's still helping them.
It feeds the clickbait, mate.
Yeah, because it's just like, they don't care that, like, if you write in the comments, this sucked or whatever, they don't mind because they've already got their money.
Yeah, that's
from
it.
Their clicks, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You know, any click, any comment, it's all helping their content grow.
Which sort of sucks because, like, you know, as you guys would know, you try to sort of put out legitimate, like, stuff, and you know, it would be far easier to get, you know, more listens if you did sort of sizzle it up. Sort of, you know, get a bit clickbaity and stuff like that. And it's, it's like by playing by a code or whatever your, you know, sort of journalistic moral rules are in nerd media, if this is all such a thing. But yeah, sometimes that sort of holds you back. But you can also, I think it's better in the long run to do it like that. But it's easier just to say, you won't believe what Kathleen Kennedy said next. Like,
yeah. Oh, that drives me crazy.
Yeah, we've kind of made a pretty sort of, I think it's a pretty solid decision here that we'll never kind of really get involved in any kind of clickbaity stuff. And if it hurts it hurts us. It hurts us. But yeah, it's like, I feel better being sort of more morally integral than just kind of just throwing out random stuff.
Yeah, we try and let the content do the work rather than a catchy headline or something that's a little bit of a switch.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's just your own how you want to run it sort of thing, and I just don't have any time for those other, like, it's just pointless. It's just such just churning up just crud for it's just
for nothing.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just crud.
Just on your interviews, because I have had a chance to listen, and they're quite great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. But with your interviews, like, I know you kind of, do you feel obligated to kind of try to dig for the fans to kind of try to like pull out information? Because I could see, you can kind of see everybody obviously has to be very careful about what they're saying and all that sort of stuff. But do you feel an obligation to kind of get in there and try to pull it out of them?
I sort of, I don't want to waste the opportunity. I'd hate for people like a podcaster especially to listen to them and go, oh, he wasted that. Do you know what I mean? But there's going to be like people that say that or not, like, because they don't actually have like a realistic idea of what's going on, and you can't. Do you know what I mean? You have to like craft the question so you might be able to get something, or they can, or if they want to wiggle out of it, they can wiggle out of it. Do you know what I mean? You can't really. Who is Ray's dad? Like, it's you're gonna get nothing. You're gonna get absolutely nothing. She's gonna hate you, and it's gonna be a real bummer. So I tried to craft the questions so they can sort of take it wherever they want, and if sometimes they'll say more than they expected to say. I asked Daisy what challenges that Ray would face in the new film, and she looked at the sky and just sort of went, I haven't been briefed on how to answer that one. And I was like, thank you, that's great, because that's like, nice. Do you know what I mean? That means it's not a a dime a dozen. So Star Wars is back. What makes it so popular? Like, question. Yeah. So I definitely took that as a on her part, an unknowing compliment that she'd never been asked that question.
Yeah, that's good. And then if you look at your quick interview with John Boyega as well, that was kind of just banter between the two of you.
Yeah, well, he sort of you sort of read what their mission is. And he was just like, I'm going to dodge a few questions, make a few Star Wars references, and have some fun. So, like, you kind of snap to that mode. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got, Kathleen Kennedy, who's, to be honest, quite intimidating to talk to, and, pretty strictly business. Although I did get a bit of a laugh out of her, so that was good. But yeah, you sort of have to read like how they want to play it and sort of work around that way. It's a weird, I don't know, sort of art form of how to get the best stuff in the end.
So still, I know you've probably been asked this about 100 times, but what are you most excited for in The Last Jedi?
Ignite the Green.
Ignite the Green?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. I don't know. I just all I want, I say this all the time, I just want Luke Skywalker to turn on his green lightsaber and save someone. That's all I want out of Star Wars. You can have your X-Men crossover after that. I don't care. But I really want that, or I want to be shown something that I want more than that I don't know about.
Yeah.
So, and I'm such a Luke Skywalker guy, and I just I want to see Luke Skywalker be Luke Skywalker again. And my dream theory is that in the Force Awakens, when they have the flashback to all the things that went on, or all the things that were going to happen, the scene where Luke is patting R2, one would assume it's near the burning Jedi Temple, which I would also then assume we got another look of that in The Last Jedi trailer. It is my dream that as Luke is patting R2 on the hood, it was just after he put the green lightsaber back in R2's chute, and R2's just been holding on to it for a little bit because Luke decided he didn't need it anymore. And then there is something that happens in The Last Jedi where it's like, all right, you guys asked for it, so I'm gonna R2, get it over here. And then you get the full, flashback to Return of the Jedi, my favorite scene of all time, and he ignites the green, and then it's on. And I think one of the great losses, if they don't do that, would be not to find out what I do in the cinema when that happens. Because
exactly how loud you squeal.
I don't know. I don't know how I could deal with that happen. I'd be so happy and so elated that, I just want to know what's going to happen. I want to know how I'd react to that. So I hope Mr. Johnson gives me that opportunity. But this is the thing. I have full faith in Rian Johnson that if he doesn't do that, he's going to give me something that matches to it.
Yep.
But I don't know what that, and that's the fun thing. It's like they're going to give me something that I don't know I need. But yeah, what I want is just turn on that green lightsaber and just chop people, please. Save someone. And I have no idea. I could see some seat standing and just getting told to shut up.
Yeah. I feel like you'll be missing an opportunity if you don't have someone there recording you the entire time, just in case.
Yeah,
that's going to make for some good viewing.
Yeah, depending on where I see it for the first time, maybe I'll do that. We did in the Rogue One, an ongoing joke, or I don't know, catchphrase callback something in on the Steele Wars was the Mendo, for Ben Mendelsohn. And there was this big thing of will anyone say it in the cinema? And yeah, the first time they had a close up on him, I'm just like, Mendo! And then you just hear around the cinema all these people say Mendo, which I'd love to be in the head of someone that had no idea what was going on. Just say, what is this? But yeah, so I recorded that. I recorded the first bit of the film because I was like, I'm doing a Mendo and I'm recording it. And then I pressed stop straight after. So, maybe it's, maybe I should do that. But, there's, I have to say, guys, there's nothing I respect more than copyright law. And it's a serious topic. And
right.
But yeah, I do need to know what I do. It'd be bad if I was at some like sweet premiere and I just I don't have a choice. I'm gonna scream either way. So
yeah,
it'd be embarrassing if Mark Hamill was in the room as well.
I think he'd get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I think he would actually love that.
Yeah, I get a kick of me getting kicked out. That's great.
Yeah.
I just want to see the end. Let me back in. I'm comedian Steele Saunders and I love Star Wars. That'd be so sad. I remember it reminds me of when I was in high school, like the cool sort of hippie kids, they all were going to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the dude that loved the Chili Peppers the most got so drunk on the way up they wouldn't let him into the concert.
Oh, no.
And he was just out the front just going, "Oh, Chili Peppers." That'd be me halfway through The Last Jedi.
Just tears streaming down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I've just got a quick question in regards to with all the interviews that you got to have. Obviously, you got Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Rian Johnson, Kathy Kennedy, all that sort of stuff. I think it's everybody's kind of. Is it a great white whale? A great white? Is it buffalo?
Buffalo.
Yeah. George Lucas.
Yeah.
If you got the opportunity to ask George Lucas one single question, that's all you got. What would it be, you think?
Oh, man, that's a hard one. I haven't thought about, I think about the other ones a lot because they're all like possibilities.
Yeah.
So, like I do sort of, like I've got my Mark Hamill questions. They're like ready to go. Like he could walk in at any time and I'm good. Like I've been training. And, but yeah, the George Lucas one, I'd have to really think about that a lot. What I'd like to know, and I'm not sure if you had one question, maybe this is the worst question to ask, or maybe this is the best, most illuminating question to ask. But I want to know what goes through. This guy has created this billion-dollar empire. He's made these films that have, just brought such joy to generations and millions of people. Maybe billion. I have no idea. But a lot of people, right? So he's made these great adventures, the most iconic characters in film history. It's never going to be matched. This is it. How does he then rewatch the film and go, look at the scene where R2-D2's sort of like hiding from Ben Kenobi and go, that needs an extra rock? I can't conceive of coming up with that idea. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that you've created these wondrous things, like these crazy creatures, like, and then you like watch this scene that's been out for 35 years or something, and you go, that could go another rock. Like, how do you think of that? Like, how do you conceive that that's possible when you've it boggles my mind. Like, I just, despite the fact that like it doesn't even make sense how R2 could get out from behind that rock and all that stuff, but just how do you conceive the rock?
Do you think he's a tortured soul and he's forever unhappy with any of his scenes?
Yeah, well, he's like a crazy nerd. Do you know what I mean? Like, and crazy nerds like threat over how their comics are, like what order they're in, and their DVDs and like I've got a cabinet of Kenner original figures. It's my pride and joy, and they're painstakingly put in release order, of each different wave, and like, so if you're the king of the nerds, you're gonna have like royal sized neuroses. Do you know what I mean? To achieve what you've achieved on the screen, like that's gonna have some blowback. Do you know what I mean? Like you're gonna have some less positive traits about you as well. And yeah, man, I it could be The Rock. I reckon The Rock is the key. That's the key. The key to every, like, you can ask all these other stuff that he's been. No one's ever asked him about The Rock.
I think that's an amazing question, to be honest with you. I think it'd be one that he'd just go, "Holy shit, you're right. What have I been doing? Like, maybe I need yeah."
No, I don't even want to. I don't want him to second guess his rock. Like I hope he's happy with his rock. But where did he get the idea for The Rock? Like, how do you think of it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you conceive that needs... Like, of all these things, there's, like, trash compactor monsters, there's X-Wings, like, we need another rock. This is what this film needs. Extra rock. We were out there in the desert, and, man, when I was there, I was like, can we get in another rock? And we couldn't. How?
The budget was blown that day, mate.
Oh, man. We could only afford stones, and what we needed was rocks. It was... out of, like, so yeah, maybe I think I've talked myself into it, the rock question. But I would you couldn't do it in a you'd have to be able to, like, I'd need him in you can't move for 10 minutes, and I'm just going to continually ask you about this rock, because he could just blow it off, and then I'd need to get, like, into this high-pitched, whiny question voice, and it's like, come on, man, when did you conceive the rock? Like, how did it happen? So yeah, the rock. That's what it's all about.
Do you think it'd be a case of something like, this is something that he's been fretting about for a long time. I really want to put an extra rock in there, but it's too late. And some guy, some CGI whiz comes to him and says, hey, George, we can CGI rocks now. And he goes, holy shit, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd think rocks would be one of the first things you could do.
Yeah, I suppose.
You saw Rogue One, saw Tarkin, and just went, wonder if we can get a rock done now. Like, it doesn't have to exactly match a rock he once met.
Yeah,
it can just be any rock.
See, I was thinking because he's such a perfectionist, he would want a very specific kind of rock.
Yeah, right. Okay. And he had to wait for technology to meet that standard of rock.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at.
I think you're stretching.
Wow.
Maybe.
Well, see, this is the thing. This rock, this is the question. This is what we've worked out. This is the big question in Star Wars.
Opens up a whole new dialogue.
I think you might want to throw a rock at me after I ask him.
Something that has kind of caused a lot of contention over the years as far as Star Wars goes, obviously the prequels. But you, I believe, are a fan?
I'm a fan... I think there's a lot of issues. I think there's a lot of issues with them, but I can squint around them. I like watching the Phantom edits, which is the Phantom editor did these very iconic edits of, like, the Phantom Menace. We covered this on, I think, maybe episode 14 of Steele Wars. But we spoke to this guy, the Phantom editor, and when the Phantom Menace came out, he re-edited it and sort of made the storylines a bit clearer and subdued a bit of Jar Jar. One of the big problems with the Phantom Menace is they talk about all these serious things, and then Jar Jar punctuates every scene with a goofy saying or whatever, and that sort of deflates the seriousness of the scene. And so he didn't get rid of Jar Jar, but he sort of made his use a little bit more compelling. And yeah, so I actually like them. I like the actual story of the prequels. I find quite ingenious, both in universe and out of universe. The way that Sidious, constructed this war, and he was controlling both sides just so he could, slip up the middle and get a higher power. I find that whole plot quite fascinating. So I think anyone that doesn't find fault in them is just not. I just don't think we're on the same appreciation of Star Wars. Like if you can't find fault in them, in the acting and in some of the special effects, then it's just like. And I'm not saying that you're worse or better, but it's just like we watch the films differently and we talk about Star Wars differently. But one of my biggest gripes is on one of the commentaries, George Lucas is bragging about how there was not a clone trooper on set. And to me, that's just an effect for the sake of having an effect, because back in 77 or 76 when they were filming it, they just whipped up a, couple dozen of these plastic molded suits and they look sick. And like, I always found the clone troopers to be a bit like animated. Like I never buy them as actually there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always, in my head, I'm like, and some, like, even like I love like the Battle of Geonosis, but some of the bits I just feel like I'm watching like the cartoon. Like, like some of those war scenes, it drifts out of I'm watching a real thing. Like, it doesn't have that like the tactile ground battle of like the Empire Strikes Back in like Hoth. So yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of missteps, but I'm not I guess I love them. I love Darth Maul. I love product lines that cover the entire saga. So the two that I collect are the SH Figure Arts, which are like a Japanese, kind of like the Hasbro Black Series, but like crazy, like more detailed, and they're probably like double the price. But I love that they do all prequel stuff, and then they do Rogue One stuff, and then they do The Force Awakens, and I guess they'll do The Last Jedi. But I like that spanning saga. Like, I like seeing Darth Maul next to Kylo Ren. I think that's pretty sick.
Yeah, for sure.
And the other one I collect is the Itty Bitties, which is total opposite to that. It's $6 little plushies that you buy in a chemist or a pharmacy or drugstore or a newsagent's. And yeah, I like that they have those prequel-y things, because I think, there's like there's the backlash and the frontlash, and I sort of think now most Star Wars fans are sort of like, yep, they're there. And there's
exactly.
great bits like, Attack of the Clones, I think, is the most beaten down of the prequels. But,
well and truly, yeah.
But I think it's got some of the best bits. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love like the Jango Fett, like V Kenobi, whether in space or on that platform. Like, that was sick. And the Battle of Geonosis, from when, like Mace comes to save them, then Yoda comes down. Like, I love all that stuff. But then you've got the sand comment, which I actually said, I think this is on the Star Wars Minute podcast. We did a live one at Celebration. It's like, because we were talking about like things you change, and it's like, I wouldn't change that, because that's funny as hell. Like, that's now a funny... Like, I interviewed this girl, Spike, that will be up on one of the next Celebration podcast episodes. She went and got a jar of sand.
Yes, I saw this.
Signed by Hayden Christensen. So I sort of put the word out. I was like, I've got to find this girl. I've got to talk to her about it and how Hayden reacted. And it's an awesome, little segment. But yeah, so I'm a fan of the sand. Like, I just love...
Nice.
It's, it was brutal to watch the first time, but now it's such a part of the Star Wars sort of pop culture that I'm pro sand. The C-3PO jokes, like, the will to live drains out of me. They are so bad. Like, they're so... Like, it's also, like, implausible that you can just like drop a head on another. Like, it's like you can't use... I don't know what this universe is, but like you can't use like a Samsung charger on an iPhone, but you can drop like this head and it just immediately starts working on another droid. And then says the worst comedy like ever spoken. Oh my God. It makes that bit with C-3PO, those jokes, that it's a drag, that makes like Christmas bonbon jokes seem like Bill Hicks. It's out of control.
That's a fair call.
Well, truly.
So, Steele, there's been a lot of talk about the upcoming anthology movies. We've had Rogue One, Han Solo's on the way. Other than the potential Boba Fett or Obi-Wan movie, what other character do you think deserves a standalone?
I have surprisingly little input on this question. People
really?
People ask me this all the time, and I don't know. There's one of my favorite sayings or qualifiers in fandom is if they do it right. Like, if they did it right, I'd love a Bosk film. And it's like, well, if they did anything right, it would be good. Because that's what doing it right is. And I think like a Godfather-y, underworld sort of film, that'd be pretty sick. Because Godfather's one of the greatest films of all time. So why not sort of bring in that sort of film influence, and whether it's about Jabba or something else. But people love bounty hunters, and I sort of thought that Rogue One, the one thing it sort of it maybe in the early days promised that didn't deliver was like an Ocean's 11 style caper.
Yeah.
And it was sort of more of just like, let's just see what we can do, rather than like, I sort of didn't think the plan was elaborate enough. Like, it would have been a good way to like have some devices. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether it, like if you look at Mission Impossible, and that famous scene with like Tom Cruise coming down on the rope, yeah. Like, it just, we had an opportunity for that, but instead we just had like some bizarre 1977 era skill tester, and so I sort of I wouldn't mind that sort of like, because I guess it's sort of, and I guess what I'm doing is just taking other films and going, make Star Wars ones of that, which is Star Wars.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Flash Gordon. Let's make Star Wars one of Flash Gordon. It's called Star Wars. So I'd like that, but I don't know. Like, I guess if they made a Boba Fett film, where would you guys want it set? And like, they were going to make it. It was in pre-production. They were going to show a trailer for it at Celebration until they fired Josh Trank. So where in the timeline would you like it?
Well, I think you could probably it depends on how the Han Solo movie goes, because I'd want to know the time frame exactly that they're going to use for that, and where it all kind of fits in regards to, from the time, I don't know, is it from the time he decides that he's going to follow in his father's footsteps and become a bounty hunter until he gets the contract on Han Solo, sort of thing, maybe that time frame?
Yeah, I'm kind of up for a post Sarlacc pit Boba Fett. That'd be pretty sick. Like,
sort of what happens in between. Oh, post. Yeah, post. What happens after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like, there was that old book, I think it was called The Bounty Hunter Wars or something, but it was a 3-part book about Boba Fett getting out of the Sarlacc, and Dengar finds him, and it sort of runs on a few different timelines. Yeah. And I found that book quite interesting, or those books. So I wouldn't mind that.
So what does he do after that? Does he try to exact revenge again, or does he kind of just retire and think, that's it for me? I've seen the worst of it all.
Yeah, I'm done, mate.
I think I'll give it up.
I can't remember.
Can you remember?
Nah, I've just got warm memories of reading. Like, I thought it was like a cool book, but I can't remember what was actually what his mission was. It was a bit confusing because it was in 2 or 3 timelines.
Yeah,
but I just remember it was good, and it was sort of interesting. But I guess I would like them to get away from the established stories a little bit. Like you don't want it too Back to the Future 2, where you're just watching the film you've already seen from a different angle. Yeah. That's more of a book or a comic premise, I think. So, people, like you could do like a Shadows of the Empire between, Empire and Return of the Jedi, and I don't know. You know the start, you know the end.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and that's like a big trap that Star Wars falls into with, the jumping around the timeline is like it'd be good to have like open-ended, like stories that you kind of have, sort of where the pieces are going to be at the end of the Han Solo film. Rogue One, you knew what had to happen. It was a surprise that they all, didn't make it out. But yeah, so I would, hope it wouldn't be too tied into, like, having to know, like where he's going to be in a certain... Yeah. So, if it was, so it was something that where there was like 10 years afterwards before we got the story picked up again. Or the after Return of the Jedi one. Or like maybe like that book and it was sort of like a multi-timeline sort of, now they don't have to stick to that Star Wars premise of just having a concurrent, like that basic linear storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know, I had a hard time adjusting to that, not like having the little flashbacks and stuff. That affected my OCD. I got a little bit. I started thinking about where I could put rocks in my life after that.
Nice.
Steele, I have to ask, how did you come up with the "Your Snoke Theory Sucks" stickers? Because these are internet famous.
Yeah, that's why I always say I'm sticker famous.
Sticker famous.
It's like people, they don't know me. They just know, like, I'm the guy with the okay, good. So I don't know. I'm heaps into like merchandising and stuff because I've got like a background, like I co-own a sneaker store in Melbourne, and so I'm always sort of grown up sort of doing sort of parody art and, like in skateboard graphics and stuff. Like it's very...
Yeah, cool.
You sort of like reflect pop culture and stuff. And so, I don't know, I just had it... So I like doing t-shirts for the podcast and that sort of are Star Wars themed that maybe don't have to look like a Star Wars t-shirt. I sort of sometimes find those like giant printed ones that you get in a department store. That's sort of not how like the stuff I'd want to wear. So I like doing t-shirts that if you're a Star Wars fan, you immediately go, I get that or that reference. But then if you're not a Star Wars fan, you don't know it's a Star Wars t-shirt.
Yeah, for sure.
So some of my tees fall into that and some of them don't. But so I had Your Snoke Theory Sucks. I remember I just had it on, I photoshopped it onto a t-shirt, like just as sort of like a normal sort of font. And I sent it to someone and they were like I just sent I took a photo and like WhatsApped it to someone and they go, oh, that's hilarious. And so I was like, okay, I'll make t-shirts and stickers of this, but how do I make it better? And then I thought if I use the old Kenner font, from the old, they're the guys that used to make Star Wars toys in the 70s and the 80s, then it will sort of have that like extra like double nerd word score reference thing.
Yeah, real deep cut.
Yeah, so I sort of mocked it up as good as I could, and then my friend Leighton, who does this website called Muckmouth, it's like a skateboarding website in New Zealand, and he's been on the podcast before. I got him to fix up the curl on the Y, which was really hard for me to make. And yeah, because I was going to Celebration in London and to Comic-Con that year, and I just knew giving out flyers that said, we've had this person on the website, on the podcast, and it would be, and it's funny and people like it, and here's some iTunes reviews. Like that wouldn't have, I just knew I'd see the flyers on the ground. Because it's just a natural thing that happens. And so I was like, well, if I make something that people want, and then at the bottom it's got a little advertisement on it, then that could work better. And yeah, I didn't sort of think it, like what happened. And like, so like, I just went to Celebration. I always sort of go with these, like, this would be funny if I came back with this photo. And so I went to Celebration in London, and I was like, if I can get Pablo Hidalgo, who sort of is one of the story group guys, to hold up the sticker with a big grin, like, that will be a funny photo. So that was like my silly goal at Celebration. And so I saw him in a bar late one night, and I said, "Oh, hey, I'm Steele from Australia." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, what's going on?" Because it was the first time we met. And I said, "Oh, man, here's a bunch of these stickers. Is it okay if I get a photo with you holding up one up?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." And he like thought it was really funny. And so I took the photo and posted it out, and I sort of walked home, pretty tipsy, and just going, "Oh, that was the best, achieved goal. Having the best time at Celebration. This is the best fun." Went to bed, and then I woke up in the morning, and my phone was like, every social media alert was at full strength. And there was this, he'd given one to Ryan Johnson, the director of episode 8, and he had tweeted it out, and that sort of made it into this, like, got it a lot of attention. There were sort of stories about it and stuff. And
that's awesome.
And the stickers were like quite I guess people were sort of trying to get where these stickers were, and I've had people from like at Hasbro and at Lucasfilm and that say, "Oh yeah, your stickers are all around the office and stuff." So that's
Nice.
awesome, because
That's
like you guys know you're in Cairns in Australia, and I grew up in Rosebud, which is sort of like a about an hour and a half out of Melbourne, but it's like the fandom, like where it's, like in California or whatever, it just seems so far away. Like even though the internet sort of brings everyone together and sort of creates a bit more of an even playing field. But to have, I don't know, I just, like, I don't know what the word is that I want to use, but it's thrilling to add something to Star Wars pop culture. And so like the sticker and like the saying, which I don't know, there's some people think it's like bullying or something. There was like this
I did see that.
But it's the joke is that even before you tell me your theory, it sucks. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, that's the joke. Like, I didn't listen to your theory and write it. The joke is, it's like, no matter what your theory is, it sucks. Like, it's not a jab at any one theory or person or something like that. Like, but yeah, to have something that like gets like used as a saying and stuff, like because like it's a joke, and as a comedian, like one of the best things that can happen to one of your jokes is it gets repeated, not stolen, but repeated. Like you hear, a comedian's, like line and it resonates with you, and you go tell other people. So this is sort of like the Star Wars nerd version of that. And so I don't know what the word is. Like, it's not, sometimes people will say humbled or something, but I didn't find it it's probably the opposite of humbling. To be honest, but I know it's gratifying. There you go.
Yeah,
it's gratifying that you can like, and it's such a dumb little thing, but it's like just to be on the other side of the planet and sort of just add that drop into the lexicon or the pop culture of Star Wars fandom. I'm like quite proud of that.
Yeah, you should be, man. That's amazing.
It's forever ingrained in there now.
Yeah, it's interesting how much will we end up knowing about who Snoke is and stuff. We'll definitely see a lot of him in the new film, a lot more of him in the new film. So, it'd be interesting how much they end up letting us know.
I love everything that it's created that's kind of come from it. So the Snoke memes and all that sort of stuff that have come just spread from this your Snoke theory stickers and all that sort of stuff. I think it's great.
Yeah, sometimes it comes back to haunt you though. I had this, like, I was selling T-shirts at the Long Beach Comic Con, and the first night I was up all night. I got like about an hour's sleep because I was with the Making Star Wars guys, and we were just up all night podcasting. And it was like I was only there for like 3 weeks, so that was going to be one of the few times I got to hang out with them. So it was like, I'll just suck it up. I'll sleep another time because I won't get to see him for a couple of months. And I was like quite hungover at the booth, and the T-shirt like brings people over to then tell you this. Oh, but yeah, Snoke theories suck, but my one's pretty good. Hear me out. And it was just torture. This guy just would not eat, and he was like, I don't know. There was Jyn Erso's womb was involved somehow. It was messed up, man. And I was just like, well, this is I feel
this is hell.
I feel less gratified.
Yeah, I've created a monster.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, so what we might do is we might get into our a lightning round of questions. So we're just going to like rattle off 5 or so questions. Just want to give us a really quick answer.
Yeah.
And we'll see how we go, okay? So there's just going to be stupid little Star Wars related questions.
Sure.
Nothing deep. No deep cuts here. All right. So, question 1, lightsaber color, green, blue, red or purple?
Oh, come on. Green.
Yeah,
Ignite the green.
I think it's pretty obvious now.
Ignite the green.
All right. If you could bring one character from Rebels into the movies, who would it be?
Oh, okay. From Rebels. AP5. So Stephen Stanton is in a film again. That'd be
nice.
Cool.
Excellent.
I don't know if I've got any other. Yeah. I'll go with AP5.
Sweet. Tauntaun or Bantha?
Oh, Tauntaun. They're gushy inside. Keep you warm.
Okay. Original series, theatrical release, or digitally remastered?
Oh, I don't know. I'm fine with watching the special edition stuff. I just hate Ewoks blinking. It hurts my soul. So, like, do you know what I mean? Like, the whole Han shoots first thing, like, that's, like, super, like, it looks goofy and it sort of doesn't make that much sense. And I can ignore it. But, like, I love, like, Ewoks are, like, one of my favorite things. And then when they're blinking, it's, like, one of my least favorite things. So, it's very hard for me to watch, but I'm despecialized edition. There you go. That's like a fan made bootleg, which I think morally, if you own the Blu-rays, then you have the moral mandate to be able to download those fan made edits.
Right. As long as you've spent some sort of money somewhere, you're good to go.
Yeah, and I also think that when you are like at Lucasfilm and Disney, if they're not going to release them, then like that's your and I think that's why maybe they're pretty lenient on it, because they know like it's their choice. They're not releasing it.
Yeah.
And that's like the holiday special. I don't think they do anything to monitor how that gets distributed or sold. And it's just like, well, and I think that's sort of like a just thing, because if you're like, you have the choice to give or deprive. And if you're going to deprive, then, you have to allow for a little bit of seepage around the side.
Yeah, that's fair. And a big one for us. And
it's dividing the show, this question.
Ooh.
It's dividing the show, but it's divided fandom, I think, for the longest time as well. This is just something that came up recently when we spoke about The Last Jedi trailer. The Imperial Walkers, AT-ATs or AT-AT?
Oh, who cares?
Yeah, right.
Who cares?
Still divided.
We were hoping for a definitive answer so we could just rub it in the other person's face.
No, that's the sort of nerd dribble I'm trying to get rid of. It's like, like it's tomato or tomato. I know what you're saying. And yeah, I just like if you decide on this way of how to say it, this is how you say it. It's AT-AT or it's AT-AT. How is your life any better?
Yeah.
Like, what changes? Like, this thing is so debated for what? It's how is life going to get better once you work this out?
For me personally, it'd be purely just to lord it over my co-host here. Just for the rest of days.
Okay, so you're not about making your life better. You just want to make other people's worse.
Yeah.
And yours seems better in comparison.
Exactly. You've nailed it.
Wow. Okay. You're straight over to the dark side.
With that, any answer? No, that's fine. Look, that's we've actually reached out to a few of our listeners as well, and they kind of said the same thing. So what does it goddamn matter?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's like, it's just, who cares?
There's bigger problems going on in the world than to worry about that.
Why aren't we talking about The Rock?
Exactly. Oh, you've opened my eyes to a whole new problem now.
Steele, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh yeah, it's been awesome fun. I so appreciate you guys having us on. It's really cool. I'm quite flattered to come on. And it's been awesome fun.
Where can people find you and all your podcasts?
Well, if you want to follow me for Star Wars related stuff on Twitter or on Instagram or on Facebook, it is whatever that address, and then Steele Wars, which is STEELE WARS. You can get the podcast free on iTunes or wherever you'd like to acquire your audio content from. And also check out the YouTube Steele Wars as well, because we'll have the full-length interviews with the images, with all the cast and stuff like that. That'll be up in the next week. So, and then the podcast comes out pretty much every week. Normally we interview someone of interest about Star Wars. Then we do like a call-in show as well, which is kind of like talkback radio for Star Wars fans. So it's really
that's
fun.
Fantastic, that show.
Yeah, cheers. It's so fun to do because you don't have to do any prep whatsoever, because people ring up and tell you what to talk about.
Yeah, the content calls in.
Yeah. So, and I like hearing all the different opinions of the fans, and the people that call in are quite sort of respectful of the guests and of the format and stuff. So yeah, I find that really, really fun to do. And it's like something that's sort of, I'd never really heard get done in Star Wars. I'm sure there has been something like it, but maybe not as like accessible to call in sort of thing. This how we do it through Blog Talk, it makes the calling in thing like quite simple.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually tried to do a call-in show ourselves and almost ended up disastrous. Should have used Blog Talk Radio. We had about a 5-second delay. It was excruciating. Made editing fantastic.
That's the worst, man. That is the worst. I appreciate any technology that allows me to not know what's going on, but it work out in the end. I love that. I don't want to know what everything does. Yeah. I just want sweet content on my iTunes feed, please.
And I love Green Guide letters.
Oh yeah, I always forget to plug all the other stuff. So yeah, I do a comedy podcast which is pretty well known in Australia called I Love Green Guide Letters, where we review the complaint letters to the TV Guide.
I love that podcast.
Yeah, so we just make petty complaints about people's petty complaints, and we have some of the best comedians in Australia and around the world, and like TV personalities, and we even had WWF World Champion Mick Foley on it one episode, which was very surreal.
Yeah, nice. Excellent. All right, man. Well, we won't take up any more of your time. We know you're a busy guy. But thanks once again for coming on the show. And hopefully we'll get you back on again soon.
Anytime. It was seriously my pleasure. It was so much fun. So thanks for having us.
And that's going to do it for another week. No comic of the week this week.
No comic of the week.
Well, it's a long episode.
It's a long-ass episode, but it is a worthy long-ass episode because we got Steele Saunders on the show, and he is an amazing gentleman, really.
The nicest guy in podcasting.
Just throwing it out there.
Right now.
Right now. If there's an award for it, he gets it. It's like you get him a mug, world's greatest dad.
World's
nicest podcaster. Yeah. That's going to do it. As you said, next week we'll be back, and we'll be, of course, talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which we got to see. And we'll talk about next week. No spoilers here.
No spoilers, and then all spoilers.
Yeah. So if you don't get a chance to see it, don't freak out because we are going to not spoil it for you, and then we're going to spoil the shit out of it.
And that's on you. If you haven't seen it by the time this podcast comes out, you have no one else to blame but yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Just sit down, take a hard, long look at yourself, look in the mirror, and just look at the person you've become.
Yeah, and sing that Michael Jackson song, "Man in the Mirror." It's like I'm looking at the mirror. I don't even know what the words are, but I'm pretty sure it's about looking deep within yourself and realizing you should have fucking switched off when we got to the spoiler talk. We want to thank some people. And first of all, naturally, once again, we want to thank Steele for coming on the show, taking out time from his, what I can only assume is a freakishly busy schedule.
I can't believe he went from Celebration straight into the Melbourne Comedy Festival.
Oh, man. And we sit here.
And it's like, I have to record an episode.
I don't have time to, like, fucking do this, that, or the other. We don't actually know what it's like to not have time to do things.
Like, this guy, he only sleeps when he flies.
Yeah. Like, I sleep every night, and I try to get 8 hours. I probably don't need to do that. In order to, to just get some more time out of the day.
Hashtag podcast hard.
Podcast hard. We also want to thank the listeners, subscribers, and reviewers. You guys are, of course, what makes this show worthwhile.
If you know, it's the best thing someone can do.
What?
Is they can just share this with one person.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Just 1.
But 1 will do.
Share it with 10. If you know 10 people.
You are impossible to please, mate.
If you know 10 people that aren't currently listening to this podcast or any podcast, go, hey, put this in your ears.
Well, actually, I'm going to give you an easier thing to do.
Okay.
You can just tell one person, say, hey, do you like stuff that's about pop culture? Do you like Star Wars? Because this was a great episode for Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Do you like the sultry, sweet, sexy sounds of Troy and Cade on the radio? It's not a radio, but you know what I mean.
It's a fake radio.
Yeah, but if somebody actually said, yeah,
I think they'll be
then
like,
give it to them.
Who the fuck are Cade and Troy?
What's a Cade?
Yeah.
That's not even a real person's name. We're on social media. You can find us, obviously, on Facebook. That is Comic Confidential. Just do a search. We've got the listener community. That's Comic Confidential listener community.
Yeah, Google that. No, not Google it. Foogle it.
Foogle it. Facebook, Google it. And we are there. Come join. We have no rules. That's the biggest thing about it.
There's no rules. There's one rule.
Don't be a
C-bomb. There's no rules.
Oh, the one rule is...
There's no rules.
There's no rules. I get it now. I should read the rules.
Yeah, it contradicts itself. Yeah. But, I mean, it's a parallax. It'll keep going.
Yeah, right. And we also have a Twitter, which is at ComicConPod. What else do we do? Website. That's Comic Con Pod. You can find past episodes, future episodes, and everything in between. If you like the show and you want to help it, you want to support it, you want to keep the lights on, do you want to keep the air conditioner running, which is actually the most important thing for us because we are in the hottest tropical climate that Australia has to offer. Yep. Look, recorders, important. Mics, important. Headphones, also. Nothing is more important than air conditioning and Monster energy drinks, damn it. If you want to keep us cool, but also hyped up, jump in and support the show.
And you can do that from as little as 25 cents a week.
25 cents a week.
Sure, that's not much. If you want to support the show a little bit more, well, you can because there's different tiers and you get different perks.
Yeah. Now, hey.
Hey, what?
I want to take a second here to shout out a couple of sweet blokes. A couple of sweet blokes that have jumped on and joined and supporting the show, you know? A couple of sweet, sexy young lads by the name of Thomas Hall and Charlie Keenan.
Charlie Keenan, he bought himself a birthday present, and that was supporting us.
Which is...
I've never seen a more selfless gift in my life.
It's fucking amazing. Also, happy birthday for the week, man. Get that into you. I hope you had a good day. But Thomas, Charlie, you guys are absolute legends, and we love you. And it's probably not even platonic. Let's be honest. It's a weird sexual love.
I have feelings. And I don't know if you noticed, but Thomas lifts.
He does.
If we ever run into Thomas, we're going to lift with him.
We are definitely, Thomas, man. We'll hit you up if we're ever in your hometown, and we're going to fucking lift some heavy weights, man. And maybe you could teach us a thing or two, because we're both really weak.
Troy doesn't know what a gym looks like anymore.
I don't anymore. Look, I've spent many thousands of dollars. It's about $1,000. I don't know, but I've spent quite a bit of money constructing my own gym at home. So I don't need to go giving no people no money because I just walk outside. You can't skip gym day if you live in the gym, son.
Every day is gym day.
Exactly. I
Even
stole
if you
that
don't
from you, so you can't even throw it back at me.
It's stealing my jokes.
Yeah. So you can't even throw it back at me. So I guess fuck you. Once again, Thomas, Charlie, fuck yeah. You guys
Legends
are
of the show, mate.
Legends of the show. Comic Blitz is a thing that we do.
Sometimes.
Have a thing with, and that is comicblitz.com, and then you use the promo code ComicConPod, and you can get yourself some sweet-ass comics for how much, man? How much?
$1 a month for 3 months.
Yeah.
Or as Amy would say...
For the same as the one and that.
That was the worst.
Because Amy is a lunatic. And I think her brain operates slightly slower than her mouth. It's an amazing thing to behold.
I've got to call you out on something though. Last week you got the promo code wrong.
What did I say?
You said ComicConPod.com.
Oh, how can you fuck up the same fucking thing that is Comic Con Pod is for everything?
You fucked it up.
Yeah, I know. I'm berating myself. I'm getting into myself. ComicConPod.com is not the promo code, goddamn. You just put it back in my head. ComicBlitz.com, ComicConPod, whatever. Don't forget the other show, The Weekly Wrap. That's where we talk all things comic book and pop culture TV. We recap it all.
Recap. Throw some news in there sometimes. When there's no TV shows. Because, we've got half an hour to fill.
Exactly. What else do we do? We also sometimes tell you some other things you should be watching that we're not necessarily talking about. We're all about giving. Mine
is going to be the same thing for the next month.
Why? Because that's all you're watching.
That's all I'm watching.
Well, it's cool because this week, this is exciting because we've got Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl. They're all back. So we're going to be talking about all those and, of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again. So get into that. That comes out the same day as this. So if you've got this and you're listening to it, the weekly wrap is also just over there, ready for you to grab. Just put your sweet hands on it.
Just put that into your little iTunes search bar.
Yeah.
Or whatever program or device you use to download your podcast.
And just shove it deep down into your ear canals.
As far as it goes.
But not physically because that can actually destroy your ears.
As long as it's their ears and not mine, they can do what they want.
That's fair. Look, that's it, man. Thanks for listening. As always, I'm Troy.
I'm Cade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace. And we're done.
It's a big episode this week.
It's a big-ass episode. But worth it, man.
I'm going to get Steele on every episode.
Every episode. Because that guy doesn't have anything fucking better to do with his time.
Well, he said he only sleeps 5 hours a night, so...
You said, goddammit, you've got 20, how many hours in a day? 19 hours in a day, goddammit. Look, that was amazing having him on. If you're still listening, Steele, if you're actually still out there listening to this episode, thanks, man. Once again.
Truly appreciate it.
Fucking man.
Go check out his podcasts.
Both of them. Steel Wars, I Love Green Guide Letters.
If you have not got onto...
Whatever the guy guests on, basically.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
The guys are the most popular podcaster in the world.
Yeah. And the world's nicest. Fucking, he's a great guy.
I'm sick of getting super nice people on these podcasts. First it was Levins.
We need to get an arsehole on the podcast so we can go, fuck, that guy was an arsehole. Let's never get him back on again.
I think I have the right guy in mind.
We thinking about the same person?
I think we are. Episode 69.